Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Spring is almost here, and so are the pesky mosquitoes. But the folks at Southeast Termite and Pest Control have a new treatment, even stronger and even longer lasting than the one they've used before. Just call them and ask about it. It's a very affordable mosquito treatment plan. Southeast Termite and Pest Control. These are the guys I use. All right, back with everyone at the panel over here, but I want to show you the YP board if we can. What you see is our red flag formula. We've done this every year dating back to Bruce Pearl's first year here. I go through hundreds of numbers and dozens of categories from Ken Pomeroy's website. I find what teams that have troubled UT have in common. Then I compare those factors, and only those factors, to every other possible NCAA tournament team. This is hours of loser geekdom, okay? Each trait that they share with a team that's beaten UT is a red flag. The teams are listed from top left over there. Those are the number one seeds. And I printed this 3 days ago. It's the only way you get it printed. They don't have weekend printers. So, Virginia, North Carolina, Gonzaga, Kentucky, those were the number ones a couple years ago. You done it to the fours. Over at the far right are some teams that aren't even in the mix anymore. But you see darker numbers, that's more difficult for Tennessee. Doesn't mean they'll lose. Just means those are the teams that can give Tennessee trouble. You'll find Kentucky and Kansas are the two toughest on the board. Not surprisingly, both those teams beat Tennessee this year. However, Tennessee lost to one in overtime, beat the other one twice. So doesn't mean a loss, just means these teams give Tennessee trouble. Gonzaga, who you barely beat, Duke is up there, Nevada is up there. LSU was a 7 out of our 9 categories. Auburn was a 6, just to give you an idea of how that works. Let me show you the numbers here. Let's put up a graphic. Do we have the red flag graphic? Or do we just have the shot of me in my coat? There we go, red flags. You don't memorize this. I'm putting at the end of a commercial for Viagra, they have to tell you all the things that can go wrong. That's what this is. This is a disclaimer. So you can get the condition known as hot dog fingers, your eyes will pop out, etc. These are all the categories that we wound up looking at. All right, these are the types of teams that give Tennessee trouble. You don't have to know it. If I don't post it and show it, somebody's going to say, what are your numbers? If I show it, people are going to say, I don't understand. So I'm erring on the side of showing it. Mark Pancraft, let me simply ask you, are you a believer in Ken Pomeroy and his numbers?
Oh, yeah. It's one of the things in the coaching community that coaches turn to look up even prior to scouting reports.
All right, very good. Then let's take a look. Here's what Joe Lunardi's latest projection for Tennessee and in his bracket is. He says they are a 2 seed in the South. All right. He's got them playing in Jacksonville for the first 2 rounds against number 15, Bradley. Let's go over to Chuck at the YP board. Chuck, can you find Bradley for us? They'll be over on the far right, if we can go to the YP board over there. There'll be a Bradley, at the bottom row 5. There you go, they're a 3.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You're pointing
right here.
The bottom, very bottom. Right. There you go. Bradley is a 3. So that would be a good matchup for Tennessee according to our system. Next up on the YP board, if you get past Bradley, number 7 Cincinnati or number 10 VCU, again in Jacksonville. Let's take a look at the board. Here. Cincinnati, just a 3. That's a good draw according to our plan. VCU
right here
would be, what are they in terms of number? They're a 4. So far, this is in terms of numbers, this is pretty good. So 3s and 4s so far. Then you would move on to Louisville if you advance. I love this. You're only 3.5 hours away. Number 3, Texas Tech. All right, now you're starting to get into tough teams. That's the first category over at our YP board.
Right here.
Texas Tech, they're a 7. All right, that's on par with LSU. That's a challenge. And then you go back, and we'll just keep it on Chuck. His number 1 seed in that region, Virginia. It's number 1 seed. They'll probably be the number 1 or number 2 seed overall. Virginia, they're 7 with Tennessee. In terms of playing those number 1s, that's about as good as you're going to get.
That would be a strong 1, 2, 3 right there.
That would. Mm-hmm. You're going to run into a strong 1, 2, 3 wherever. So let me get your thoughts, gentlemen. Chuck, I'll start with you since you're way over there. Step on in. Your thoughts on this bracket?
I love the way that would shape up, John. It's going to be tough anywhere, but I would rather be a number 2 seed in the South and then take it from there and go through the ranks. I would.
Thoughts, gentlemen? Do you like this? Don't like it? Problems?
For me, the playing in Louisville's an advantage, but that is a Thursday-Friday or Thursday-Saturday setup. Virginia, one thing that makes Virginia great is also what makes Tennessee great. They can win it. They can win at different tempos. They're a good a team that plays together. So Virginia for me is a scary. But like you said, when you get to that point, you're playing with house money in the Elite 8.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever you play in the Elite 8 is going to be tough. Virginia, though, that's a team that's going to come in with a lot of pressure on it. You choked in the NCAA tournament last year. You lost in the ACC tournament this year. There's some tournament pressure on those guys. Jimmy, your thoughts on that bracket? Do you like
it? And I think Virginia's really good. They're better offensively than a year ago. They had a 2-year stretch where they scored 80 points like 4 times. This year they scored 80 points, I think 9 or 10 times. So they've got more offense, but I still think they're prone at times to having some scoring challenges. So I really like that side.
I agree. I mean, I think if Tennessee got there, could that be like a 60-55 game between Tennessee and Virginia? They both play really good defense, and like Jimmy said, Virginia their offense can fade away. Tennessee's has probably been more consistent, if not at the peak, is good.
One other thing when you are 1 seed, one advantage of the 1 seed, your 16 seed is oftentimes a lot worse than a 15 seed. There's a 15 seed like a Bradley, they come from a really good conference. I know that their coaching staff, they've got some good high major transfers, whereas 16 is like a SWAC school that's never really any good. Yes, Virginia lost, but there's something we said that 15 is a lot harder.
There are usually 2 15s that you could argue should be 16s and 2 15s you could argue should be 14s. If you go back and look, it seems every year, and it's this case this year too, I'll show you a dream bracket later, there are a couple of 15s that fit that Southland SWAC kind of conference you'd love to get your hands on. You're right, though. Bradley is a conference that's done some damage in the past that they're in. Josh, your thoughts? You like this bracket?
Yeah, I like it fine. I would add in Texas Tech would be a tough team to play. They just lost to West Virginia in the Big 12, which is no good. But they have a really good player, Jarrett Culver, one of the best players in the country, well coached, former Vol as well. Tariq Owens really good at blocking shots. So that would be a challenging game for sure.
If you gave me the choice if you're going to be the number 2 to Virginia or Duke, I'll take Virginia all day and all night, though. They're tough, but I wouldn't want to play Zion. So, to me, I love that. And if you and we'll talk about it, but there are 1 seeds that everybody wants. I'd rather have that. That looks easier to me. Easier. All right. When we come back, what does Jerry Palm say this morning? What's his projection? And are there good and bad matchups there? We'll break it down next. Come on back on the Sports Source. All right. Was that?